tell us a bit about your early background with your parents and your family and so on. It was in Liverpool, correct?
Yes, we lived in a back-to-back. We lived in the back bit.
The back.
It didn't have a front. And we had a garden about the size of a small piece of grass. And I think we had a flower or two and a hedge around it, and that was the garden.
What did your parents do, work-wise?
Nothing in the garden.
Nothing if they could help it?
No, he used to drive a tug.
What about your mum?
She didn't. She used to cook terribly. She cooked bacon that the government almost commissioned to make warships out of. She knew more ways to murder an egg than any woman alive. I don't know how I managed to grow up. Mind you, I didn't really. I'm still pixie-ish.
Yeah, perhaps that's why you're rather small.
Yeah.
Small in stature. Have you brothers and sisters?
I got one sister. She married Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, and is she doing well there?
Well, she didn't. She's not in the store. She married a man who makes the shirts in Milan.
Do you see any of your family these days?
No. I pop up every now and then to see they're all right. Because they moved, you know. They moved.
You met this lady called Lee.
Yes.
Was it love at first sight?
No, it still isn't. No, we did. She was married to a famous pop star, you see, and they were on the verge of collapse. And we just became friends on the verge. And when she was pop starless, I was sort of around to pick up the pieces a bit. That sounds like I'm terribly Marge Proops, but I'm not at all. I just was there for her to cry around. And then we became great friends, probably because of that disaster. And we just used to loon around. We didn't think of getting married until about 5 years later.
And then suddenly, bong, it happened. Why did you decide to get married? Because I remember we had a terrible falling out when I came to your wedding and said, this is all an awful mistake. Marriages are not meant to happen.
Yes, I should have listened. Yeah.
Do you approve of the concept of marriage or not?
It's all right. It's deductible.
Yes, I suppose that's the best way of looking at it.
There's not much difference between being married and not being married, really, because if you're with a friend that you've been with for 9 years and you decide, I've had enough of this, Deirdre, or whoever it is, there's as much fuss as if you're breaking up a marriage, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's more heart-rendingness than any court can provide.
Mm. Especially now with the Britt Eklund, Rod Stewart type cases.
Now, I mean, didn't we all see that coming?
Oh, we saw it coming a mile off. Hard as nails, we said, didn't we?
Yes.
After gold.
Yes, a digger.
Yes, a heart of
we
gold.
Said,
we used to say.
I saw it coming.
But looking at the sort of the things you do, how do you regard yourself? I mean, do you regard yourself as a creative artist? Or do you regard yourself as a parasite?
Oh, a parasite, definitely. Oh, yes, I'm definitely going to agree with that. That's like when you get a form through from the government, say, when you apply to become a driver, they send you a thing saying, are you blind? I mean, you're definitely going to put yes, are you? Do you think you are good enough to drive? Oh, no.
Yeah, anyway, well, all right then. What do you do? I mean, describe what you do.
I get up as late as possible, as absolutely as late as I possibly can. Lee usually gets me up, that's my wife, by making coffee smells rave up the stairs and around me hooter. And I hang around until my body is butch enough to have a shower.
Right.
And then I get me loofah out. I'm a mad loofah man. I'll show it you later.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm longing for that.
It's a great hairy rough thing. I don't like flannels. I'm not a flannel
Oh no,
fan.
I quite agree. I'm the same. I have a large stick with something that scratches on the end of it. I do wish our producer wouldn't go to sleep in the middle of our rather fascinating interview. I mean, I would imagine the great London public would be quite interested in what two celebrities such as Kenny Everett and Jonathan King do in their bar. Instead, we get the sound of Simon Booker snoring in the background.
Usually, after brekkie, I pop into the studio here, which is full of equipment, studio equipment, funnily enough, and I do a jingle or two for Nicky Orn or somebody, and then I'll do an advert, which brings in enough money to keep the electricity flowing so I can do more jingles and adverts.
Right. What about things like Captain Kremen? Does that take ages and ages? Because it always sounds as though it's meant to. It sounds easy, but it's probably incredibly difficult.
Well, what I actually do with that is leave it to the last minute. Friday night at 8 o'clock, I ring up Chris Denning and say, "Oi, Chris, got any gags for this week's show?" Like, it was so cold last night that one of my twin beds got in with the other one.
Oh dear.
I tell you, the rocket ship was so cold, every time I opened the door, the light went on.
Oh no.
It was so windy last night, a red light went through a car. And here's one I actually used. It was so cold. Look at the thermometer, it says continued on the next thermometer. And he wrote up. Once I've got me gags, I sit down at a typewriter and rattle out the story. And by the time 10 o'clock rolls around, I'll go and have a drink and forget the whole thing until the next morning at about 7 o'clock in the morning. Get up, have a shower with me loofah. I'll show it you later.
Don't forget to show me your loofah.
After I've had a shower, I wander down here into the studio and look at the script and go, yes, it's all right, I'll correct a bit here, alter a bit there, and then get with me machines and me records of sound effects and everything and actually do it. And usually I finish at around about 10 to 10, which is just enough time to gather me bits and me tapes and stuff and the finished episode and rush out to the car and pelt it to the studio in London, which is 82 miles away. And I arrive at about 5 to 12 and start, and then at 10 past 1 it goes out.
And there you are, with a Captain Kremen episode finished and on the air.
Just about, yeah.
Oh, that's marvellous. Last minute stuff.
Yes,
then.
it's the last minuteness of it that that makes me do it, really.
Yeah.
Because if I had all week, I'd just sort of go, oh, I don't feel like doing it now, I'll wait.
I mean, everybody else laughs at
blimey.
you. Is there anything that makes you get hysterical with laughter?
Every now and then I laugh at a Daily Mirror joke.
Right.
One of those ha-ha-ha jokes in the junior page. That's about my level of humour. Records don't make me laugh. When I listen to a Monty Python record, I go, yes, that's very funny, or that's terribly clever, that. But I never actually...
But did you see the Ripping Yarns or any of those series? Any of those make you...
First one of those killed me.
Yes, the first one was
Slaving.
hilarious, but then it dropped off the series, didn't it?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Well, that's the trouble with anything truly brilliant like Monty Python. It's about 90% absolute crud and dross, but in the 10% that is good, it's absolute brilliant and gem-filled.
Yeah.
Whereas programs like George and Mildred, say, they sort of troll along with the same sort of low level of constant humour.
Mm.
This is getting quite esoteric, isn't it? And indigenous.
Yeah.
So we sat about giggling about what makes us laugh, and then Everett leapt to a passing shelf and grabbed one of the Mel Blanc albums, stuffed it instantly onto his record player, and...
Time now on Celebrity Interview to meet Hollywood's man of 1,000 voices, Lester Krauss.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, if that's one of your 1,000 voices, Lester, I'm certainly impressed.
Yeah, and I do a lot more, too, sweetheart.
Hey, that's amazing. Can you do almost any voice?
See, all I have to do is hear it once and I got him, I think.
Well, for example, could you do me? Well, of course I could. How's this? Just like you, right? Really, you think that sounds like me? I don't think so at all.
What do you mean it doesn't sound like you? Of course it sounds like you. You argue with me, I'll pull your jaw right out of your face.
Well, our thanks anyway to our guest on Celebrity Interview today, Lester Krauss, Hollywood's man of 1,000 voices. Or 999 if he's counting mine.
Oh, you're despicable.
Get out of here.
Quite magnificent. Can we have another one? Have you got any more?
Yes, all right. How about Child Prodigy?
It's time once again for Child Prodigy. And now, our first finalist, little 7-year-old Jimmy Krellman of Sioux Falls, Idaho. Jimmy! Thank you, Jimmy. And now, our other finalist, little 19-year-old Harold Zookmeister from New York City. Harold.
Oh, MacDougall had a farm with a moo here, and a cow there, and a woof here.
Well, friends, it seems obvious who the winner is. None other than Harold Zookmeister.
Thank you, sir, a whole lot.
This is your host, Edgar Zookmeister, saying bye now.
Child Prodigy has been brought to you this week by Zookmeister's Department Stores. This is the Zookmeister Broadcasting System.
Hi, folks. This is your host, Sheldon Wask, inviting you to listen to Hello There, Stupid, the show that gives fabulous prizes for incorrect answers. And our first dum-dum is a young turnip scraper from Ishpeming, Michigan, Dwayne Fimerton. Hi, Dwayne.
Hello, Mr. Wask.
Fine. Are you ready for your question?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Good. Now remember, you get one answer and one answer only. If it is incorrect, you will win a house, a car, and $5,000 in cash. Right. Now, here's the question. What was an often used nickname for American soldiers during World War II? Come on.
G.I.
That's it. G.I. You're right. You lose. Sorry. Well, that's it for today on Hello There, Stupid.
Oh, what was the question?
Here you are, and you are allowed to have one dinner party that you can invite 6 other people to.
Yes.
From anywhere in the world, be they live or dead. What sort of combination of human beings would you have at that party?
Marilyn Monroe for her delicious lookingness, and I'm sure she was very sweet. I'm sure she was, because I've read all the stories, and they say she was terribly sweet.
She seems
and
wonderful.
trodden upon.
Yes, and she did marry a terribly intelligent man.
Who?
Arthur Miller, the playwright.
Arthur Miller. Oh, isn't he in Celebrity Squares?
Could be,
He
occasionally.
sits in a bottom right-hand square.
Yes, and answers questions about Marilyn Monroe.
He fell asleep once during Celebrity Squares. They edited it out, you know. Yeah, Bob Monkhouse said to the woman, "Pick a star," and she went, "Arthur Mallard." And they went over to Arthur Mallard, and he was going, and they had to get a technician to wake him up. Second on my table, I think I'd have to have Noel Coward, because he's terribly witty and came out with one-liners that staggered everyone for miles. People were just collapsing.
Have you got one? Have you got
Yes.
an aphorism?
Yes, one day he said, "Sunburn is terribly becoming, but only when it's even. One must be terribly careful not to look like a mixed grill." To provide tunes at my party, because what is a desert island in the moonlight when there's tons of nosh and blancmange and stuff without music? I think Lennon could provide a few good tunes, and he could also tell us some of the innermost stories of the Beatles era, folks.
And would he bring Yoko along with him, do you think?
Well, she's compulsory, isn't she?
Yes. You have one, you have to have the other.
Yes. And she's nice once. Once she, we went to see him up at St. George's Inn, and she climbed out of bed and made us a nut cutlet.
He's marvellous, yeah.
Yes, because he could sit talking to Noel Coward, and quips could fall like autumn rain. We could just sit around listening to that. Hitler, I'd have Hitler as well, because I'm sure he has a few good spiffing wheeze tales. What?
Well, apart from anything else, he'd add a sort of rather serious note, I think, don't you?
Yes, and we could put him with Malcolm Muggeridge, who I adore. Don't understand what he's talking about, but the way he says it is great. Or Alistair Cook. He's another one I like the sound of the voice of. So that would be my party. Marilyn Monroe, Noel Coward and John Lennon, Woody Allen for hilarity, Hitler for sort of general fun, and good stories. And Malcolm Muggeridge, just to add a little seriosity. One day, when we were in the speakeasy, John said, something with a Liverpudlian accent, and we all went outside, and we got into his car, which was driven by Terry Doran, which was this sort of driver stroke
lunatic
jester, court jester. And they started driving, and I was in the back, and they were going through this fantastic act together, just mashing words around, rather like a Spaniard in the Works, only live.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there in the back, all feeling tiny and weeny, because he was just like a magnanimous worldwide star, and I was only on between 10 and 12 on Sundays on the BBC.
Yeah. And then only occasionally, when you weren't drinking your coffee. Yeah.
So, yes, and he said to Terry Doran, "Oh, let's go home, shall we?" And I thought, wow, the back here, because I know his house is way out in the country. If I keep quiet in the back, then when he arrives, he'll go, hey, there's a person in the back. And he won't be able to do anything about it. And that actually happened. And they nattered all the way to his house in St George's Hill, Weybridge.
Easter or Weybridge.
And it worked, because there I was in the back, and I got to see his house and mix around with the furniture he sat on and walk on the carpet that he'd walked on.
Were you ever a sort of John Lennon fan?
It's only terribly.
Do you remember the wonderful Cynthia Lennon?
Yes, I do. She was sweet.
Where did you get this idea for these lunatic bottom 30 records then, Everett?
Well, on my Sunday show, it's a sort of me and the technician playing album tracks at each other, because it's not really a dynamic show, because on Sunday I reckon most people just want to sit back and recover from Sunday dinner, so I just play album tracks. And one of the ones I played once was Tell Laura I Love Her, which was a single, but it was sort of pretty dreadful. Do you remember it?
Oh yes, I remember it very well.
Yes, very awful record. And the technician I was giggling with said, when the record was on, he pressed the talk back and said, "Oi, why don't you do a program of awful records?" And his name was John Meyer, just to give him credit, because it was a smashing idea. And so I said, "Hey folks," I opened the microphone and said, "Hey folks, why don't you send us all your worst crud, all the gonkiest records out of your collection you can find?" And they sent thousands. We got sackloads for weeks and weeks and weeks of all this dreadful, drivelly record stuff. And out of that, we fed all their votes into the Capitol computer and came out with the bottom 30, the ones they hated the most. So, here's something from the top 10. This is my favourite one. It's by a bloke called Adolf Babel and his girlfriend on the Hallmark Sound of Excellence label, and it's called My Feet Start Tapping. This came in the top 10 of their all-time worst records.
My feet, they start tapping when I hear that tune. It makes me plain happy if it's January or June.
When I'm outside strolling along and I hear that sound, I just gotta stop, tap my feet and twirl around.
So if you're out walking and you just happen to see someone stop and twirl around, 10 to 1, it's feet tapping me.
Yes, if I hear that sound, nighttime, daytime, morning or noon, my feet keep tapping, tippity tap, to that beat of that tune. Night and daytime, morning or noon, never too soon, never too late. Tap, tap, tappity tap, can't stop my feet when I hear that tune. They syncopate.
What a great last line. When my feet start tapping, they syncopate.
Ooh, and they weren't
Right.
syncopating at all during the record, were they?
No, the feet sound as though they were studios away, and that got to number 28 in the bottom 30. So that means there were 28 records that were worse than that.
I noticed actually when I was listening to your worst ever records, there were very few famous ones in there.
Oh, there's Huey Green.
Oh, Huey Green, yes, that's a fairly classic. But what about things like Napoleon the 14th and They're Coming to Take Me Away? Ha ha.
I don't think that's really funny.
No, I suppose it's just dreadful, isn't it?
Yeah, there were a lot in those sacks that were just absolutely awful. They weren't even funny, you know, they were just absolute crud.
The urge to leave these shores and go and take your ill-gotten gains elsewhere and live a life of luxury as a playboy on a beach somewhere. Tempting or not?
No, I've been abroad a lot, and I haven't found anywhere that's better than England all round. The States is very exciting, and they've got about 20,000 radio stations in the whole country, and that's pretty groovy. But they do tend to have people like Charles Manson in the States that rip your guts out of the drop of an olive. I went to the Seychelles once. That was very sweet and pretty and full of palm trees and dusky maidens.
And is that the kind of your ideal holiday place?
It would have been ideal if it wasn't so hot and full of bugs. In fact, the hotel didn't have any windows, which was silly. It had sort of louvred wooden bits around the holes where the windows should have been. And on our first night, when the generator was switched off, it's a very primitive island, the Seychelles, they've only just started to inhabit it. On the first night, the generator went off at 10 o'clock, so we were plunged into darkness in our hotel room. We turned on this battery-operated thing they have on the side of the bed, a little light thing. And we were just snoozing off, and suddenly we heard... And what it was, this horrendous noise like a battleship just entered the room, was a giant bug about the size of Roger Scott's left buttock that had just squeezed through the louvre doors, landed on the floor, and was trying to fly. And it was like a huge... one of those dotty things.
Ladybird.
It was like a huge ladybird, and it was ugly looking and foreign looking, you know. And I had to find a huge tumbler and plop it over this thing, and put a postcard under the tumbler, and then heave it out onto the grass again. And in the meantime, I was getting bitten to death by mosquitoes, of which they have millions over there. So I think Britain's best to live in because they don't have mosquitoes or bugs like Roger Scott's left buttock.